Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Elite Wealth and Wellness, where it is our mission to help you obtain elite wealth and wellness in your life and finances. I'm Paul Stafford, one of the co-founders of Elite Wealth and Wellness, and today I want to shed some light on what's actually happening to that money you put into your 401k and mutual funds. There are two main reasons why your 401k and mutual funds will never set you free. Number one are fees, and number two is market volatility. Let me start with fees and show you how this really works. So let's look at an example. If you put $1,000 into the market for 40 years, compounding at 8%, you'd have $24,500 at the end of that 40 years. And that sounds amazing. However, you don't really earn at that 8%. Due to the internal fees, and we're going to assume a 1% internal fee here, which is fairly typical, you only get to earn at 7%. So that $1,000 for you actually only turns into $16,440. So what happens to the difference? Well, that goes to Wall Street, and that's where you're losing a lot of money. So that $24,500 that was actually earned at 8%, you take off your $16,440, and Wall Street just made $8,000 off of your initial investment. But it gets even worse. So you'll remember, for a 401k, they're not tax-free, they're only tax-deferred. So you've got to pay the government at the end of this. So I'm going to assume you're going to pay a 24% tax rate at that time. So 24% on your $16,000 is another near $4,000. So when you thought and you calculated that you were going to earn $24,000 off that 8% return, it actually ends up only being $12,000. After you pay the Wall Street fees and taxes, your gains are significantly less than you expected. So what does that actually look like in real life? Let's say you put $100,000 into your 401k at 8% average rate of return, and assuming a 1% internal fee. That's about $225,000 in 10 years. However, after federal, state, tax, and any penalties you may pay, that's up to about 50% of your earnings. You'd only have $112,000 left. Now, if you haven't heard of Ted Bennett, you should look this name up. Ted Bennett is often referred to as the father of the 401k, and he was a financial advisor in the early 80s when the 401k was signed into law. Now, he did two critical things that have made the 401k the mainstream investment vehicle that it is today. The first thing he did was made this a pre-tax investment vehicle, and the second thing was he basically created this employer matching program. And those two things together made these wildly popular and made them grow into what they are today. However, when he was recently interviewed, Ted Bennett said that the biggest advantage of the 401k is it basically turns spenders into savers. And he's also been quoted to say it's basically a savings account. And most interestingly, he has recently said that the whole thing should be blown up and thrown away because of all the problems and complexities and the fees that have been brought into these things. And lastly, when asked how he invests his money, surprisingly, Ted Bennett said that he invests his money into real estate. So that's the first reason that your mutual funds and 401ks will never set you free. The internal fees are eroding your profits. The second reason that your mutual funds and 401ks won't set you free is that the average rate of returns that are often quoted in the market are very deceiving. Now, we use an 8% average return for our previous calculation. The S&P 500's average rate of return from about 2000 to 2013 was only 5.4%. Now, that alone is discouraging compared to the 8% we were calculating with, but it's actually much worse than that. Let me show you why. Let's look at an example. If we put $100 into the market and in year one, the market made 100% return, we'd have $200 at the end of that year. Now, if in the second year the market went down by 50%, we'd be back down to our $100. In year three, another 100% gain. We're back up to $200. And in year four, another 50% loss. We're back down to $100. Now, these are extreme examples, but they'll illustrate the point. If we look over those 4 years and calculate the average rate of return, it was 25%. However, what was our real rate of return? As you can see, 0%. We're left with the same amount that we started with, despite this 25% average rate of return. Now, if we look at the S&P 500 from 2000 to 2013 with actual numbers, the average rate of return was about 5.5%. However, it's very telling to look at that on a graph. If we put money in to the market in the year 2000. In the year 2008, we had about the same amount of money. So if we put $100 in 2000, we had $100 in 2008. Then by year 2013, we're back to the same amount of money again. So although the average rate of return was about 5.5%, the real rate of return for our money from 2000 to 2013 is 0%. So this is why we say that 401ks and mutual funds will never make you financially free. The fees and the market volatility are killing your returns. Now, we're not saying that everyone should abandon their 401k. It helps many people, and especially those who would otherwise be spenders. As Ted Bennett says, it turns spenders into savers. But is that what you really wanted out of your 401k, just another savings account? Once we learned, we began looking for another alternative investment. And that's why they say a formal education will make you a living, but self-education can make you a fortune. We eventually found real estate as our investment vehicle alternative. Now, there are no internal fees in real estate. There's no direct link between market volatility and your returns on real estate. We're going to earn double-digit returns, and there's huge tax advantages in real estate. And by the way, 401ks are not tax-free, they're only tax-deferred. So to recap all of that, the fees inside the 401k and mutual funds are killing your returns. When you add the compounding fees along with the taxes on the way out, it truly becomes a savings account. Furthermore, that market volatility significantly erodes your projected return because an average of 8% may not actually earn you an 8%. And that's again why the father of the 401k, Ted Bennett, said it's basically a savings account. And the only difference between a 401k and mutual fund is essentially the taxes on the way out. So what do you do now? Well, educate and verify what we're telling you. First of all, look up Ted Bennett, read a little bit about the 401k. And second, you might want to check out Andy Tanner's book, 401 Chaos. And when you're educated and comfortable and confident with these concepts, you need to find an alternative investment and a vehicle that can get you advantage in returns and as well as the taxes, because you won't ever get financially free with your mutual funds and your 401ks. Thank you for joining us today. I hope this content was helpful and that it helps you grow your knowledge and change your mindset so that you can ultimately take different actions to change your life and achieve your own elite wealth and wellness. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell to change your settings so that you'll get notified as we make new content available. And if you'd like to learn more or get more information, be sure to check out our website at elitewealthandwellness.com. And if you have any questions or want to speak with us directly, send me an email at paul@elitewealthandwellness.com.